Airbus versus Boeing, a long time, decades old rivalry. Uh, Pilots are on one side or the other for the most part. I've flown them both over the last year, and I have a chance right now to go back to Airbus and be captain, or do I want to stay on the Boeing 777? And I've been flying the Boeing 777 for the last few months as a first officer, and it's been fine. I like the airplane. It's a great airplane. It's a whole new experience. Driving to the airport and flying to a whole new continent, right? I used to fly to a different state, maybe a different country, like Mexico, maybe somewhere in the Caribbean islands. But most of the time, when I go to the airport, I'm going to cross an ocean, and it's a pretty nice. It's a neat experience. But with that comes some quality of life issues. Again, this is a very first world problem. I'm just talking out loud at what's going on through my head, thinking about what I want to do for my professional career and for my family and for my own self, right? So I love flying a 777. It's a great airplane, but I don't fly as much as I thought I would. I knew I'd fly less, but it's a lot less. And I'm a pilot. I love flying airplanes. Well, with the Boeing 777, it's a multi-pilot crew airplane, right? And with my current seniority, I get a lot of relief pilot trips. Now, I have had a lot of flying trips lately, more than relief pilot actually. But even then, I'm taking off and landing once a week. That's it. When I was on the Airbus, I would take off and land multiple times per day. A typical Airbus trip when I was still on the plane was like a 3-2-3 3-day trip. 3 legs day 1, 2 legs day 2, 3 legs day 3. 8 legs, I'd take off and land 4 times in 3 days versus just once a week. So there is a vacancy bid open in my airline right now. And that means the airline has said, hey, we have these openings available and anyone's free to bid them. Like say, hey, I want to fly that plane or that seat, whatever. Now, I do have a seat lock on the 777 as a first officer, but I have one get out of jail free card, meaning if this is my first time to upgrade to captain at my airline, I can have no seat lock at all. So I can just go straight to captain. Now, once I sit in that new seat as a captain on the Airbus or even 73, I am then locked for 2 years, and that one's kind of hard to break. So it's a choice to make, right? There's pros and cons to each, but first I want to compare 2 months on different airplanes. So August of this year was my first normal month on the 777, where I didn't have vacation or something weird going on in my schedule. So I'm going to compare August of 2024 to August of 2023 and show you, the quality of life differences between the Airbus and the 777 as far as a FO. There are big differences in seniority and just, how much I worked, days off, take off on landings, that kind of thing. So sit back and relax, I guess. There's going to be a lot of text on the screen. I know you guys hate text on the screen, but if I just say all these numbers to you, they won't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to put some text on the screen just showing what I did each month. I promise I'll make it pretty easy to understand. So, first, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist. I've been flying an airline pilot now for 17 years. I'm at my current airline. I've been here 6 years and like 10 months. I've had my previous airline for 10 years. So, Okay, so August of 2023, I was an Airbus first officer here in Dallas. I was in the top 9%. I was number 20 out of 216 pilots on the international status. Last year at my airline, we had domestic pilots and international pilots. I was an international pilot. As far as my award of my schedule for the month, I was given 16 days off. I had 14 days of working days. My schedule that was awarded for the month had 79 and a half hours of flying, and I was scheduled to be away from base, like start of a trip to end of trip, for 229 hours and 9 minutes. That's a figure people use to figure out how long you're away from each trip, right? So for the whole month, I was gone for 229 hours and 9 minutes, scheduled anyway. As far as the trips I did last August, as far as I was awarded anyway, back then I was so senior I could pick my trips. I would hand pick every trip I did, and I got them for the most part. I had an Anchorage, Alaska 3-day trip, 1 leg there, 1 leg back. I had an Austin 4-day trip, where this was a a lot of legs for me as a senior pilot, but it was 3, 2, 2, and 3. Every overnight was in Austin, but we did like flights to Liberia, Costa Rica, and Cabo San Lucas out of Austin. It was something different for me to do. I did it anyway. I didn't end up doing it. I had a Las Vegas 3-day trip. I love Las Vegas, right? 2, 2, and 1. Easy 3-day trip, right? And then I had a Cancun day trip. Day trip, you know, you drive to the airport, you fly to Cancun, and you come back the same day. The last one I was awarded was a Chicago 3-day trip, meaning I stayed in Chicago at some point. That's why I label them anyway. 2, 2, and 1. Easy flying, lots of landing, lots of takeoffs as a senior first officer. Now, that's what I was awarded. And if you followed me for a while, especially on the Airbus, you knew I was a player. I like to play with my schedule, and I would maximize my pay and minimize my flying, right? I'm a player. And I played it. And again, when I was a senior first officer, I was making captain pay, sitting in the right seat. I was hustling to do it, but I was making captain money, sitting in the right seat, having a good quality of life, working when I wanted to. You're probably asking, well, Darren, why'd you leave? That's a whole different story. I got bored. So what did I actually do last August as a senior first officer? Well, I worked myself down to just 12 days off. I had 16 awarded. I had just 12 days. And this is pure days off. I worked 18 days. And my wife and I was talking about with her just yesterday at lunch about me going maybe to the Airbus Captain. And even though I had worked 18 days last year in August, that's just calendar days I went to work. Many of these days I worked, I was off all day long, and I would fly 1 hour to San Antonio at 8 o'clock at night, go to the hotel, get up in the morning, and I would deadhead back in the morning, I mean come back as a passenger. It was a broken trip. The airline needed someone to cover this flight to San Antonio, and they'll have a crew tomorrow morning to fly the afternoon to fly the flight wherever else it needs to go. But so I would just fly to San Antonio, stay in a hotel, come back as a deadhead. I'd be paid 15 hours and 45 minutes to do that trip, flying 1 hour. I hustled a lot. So August of last year, in 2023, I only flew in the flight deck, but in seat, 27 hours and 48 minutes. 27 hours and 48 minutes. I was awarded 79 hours and 79 and a half hours. I flew 27 hours and 48 minutes. I was paid 134 hours and 12 minutes. 134 hours and 12 minutes was what I was paid. I worked the system. And that's what I did all year long. I averaged 115 hours a month of pay every month. I flew fewer than 50 hours a month. I worked the system to my advantage. But my scheduled time away from base, again, this was scheduled. It didn't actually happen because, again, I had lots of deadhead backs. I was scheduled to be away from base 267 hours and 25 minutes. So that's about, almost 40 hours more than my awarded time away from base. But I flew very little. I was at the airport a lot of days, but I actually worked very little as far as flying. Now my pay for the month at my old pay rate was $23,278.32. That was just my hourly wages, not in my 401k or anything else, just pure my hourly wage times what I was paid. Very good month for my pay rate, right? Now, this year, August 2024, I'm a first officer on the 777. And my seniority isn't nowhere near as high, right? I was 9% there. I'm 88% seniority on the Dallas 777. Again, I am not a commuter. I could be more senior on another base. I'm not going to commute. People ask why I don't fly the 787 in Dallas, because I can't hold it. I can just now hold the 787 in Dallas, actually, just like this month. But at the time I bid it, I couldn't hold it. And I can't transfer. It's not an option right now. So I'm 88% seniority. I am number 197 out of 224. So again, I was previously on the Airbus. I was number 20 out of 216. I am number 197 out of 224. I'm very junior. As far as what I did, going ahead of myself. As a junior pilot, right? I am on reserve, and I do bid short call reserve. I get an extra 3 hours pay a month to do it. That means I have a wrap every reserve day where I have to turn my phone on. For example, today my phone has to be turned on. I have to be available for contact from the airline, actually, starting at 11 a.m. today. I get 12 days off a month as a reserve pilot. That's 18 days working for the it's for the bid month, not calendar month, because August has 31 days in it, but we have 30 days in the bid month. So August 31st is actually part of September. I do have a trip that did go into the next month, but I'm just cutting it off at midnight on the 30th to keep numbers simple. For my short call reserve, I get paid 76 hours of guarantee. If they never call me or contact me for the whole month, I get paid 76 hours for the month. Now, what did I actually do for August of 2023? Well, of my 18 working days, I only worked 16 of those days, meaning I had 14 days off. Those were days where I was on reserve, but they didn't use me, right? So I had 2 extra days off. But it's even better than that, because of the 16 days I worked, 3 of those days were it's called a premium trip or time and a half trip, where I went to Hawaii for time and a half. I made a video about that one. Total happenstance. My wife woke up, I saw the trip on my phone, I went, I'll go for it, I'm very junior, and I got it. And that made a big difference in my paycheck, as you'll see. But I still worked 16 days. My actual flying butt in seat time, not even butt in seat time. My time awarded to me via trips was 58 hours and 49 minutes. I say that because on a 10-hour trip to London, I'm only in the seat for 6 hours, maybe 7 hours. So I don't say butt in seat time on 777. But my awarded flying for the month was 58 hours and 49 minutes. I was paid 99 hours and 38 minutes because of the extra trip to Hawaii, Honolulu. Now, my time away from base this month, it's all accurate because I had one deadhead from my Miami busted trip, but I actually did the run I was scheduled. So I was away from base this month for 163 hours and 55 minutes. Not very much. As far as the trips I did, I had a London 3-day, the Hawaii 3-day, that was a premium trip, a Miami 2-day, supposed to be a 3-day trip. I timed out. I made a video about that one. I had an Amsterdam 3-day and another Amsterdam 3-day. So I had one relief pilot Amsterdam 3-day trip and a flying Amsterdam 3-day trip. There might be a video about the last one. Now, at my pay rate for the month, I was paid $28,521.04. So that is much more than I made in August of 2023. Fewer hours, but more money. But there's a huge caveat here. Between last August and this August, we had a new contract with new pay rates, significantly higher pay rates. Now, I'm going to have to go into some what-if situations, and it's not accurate, but I just going to give it a kind of an apples-to-apples thing, right? What if I was still a senior first officer, and I was able on the Airbus, and I was able to have my new Airbus pay rate and fly the exact same month, this month in August 2024, as I did in August 2023. Meaning I had all the same opportunities, same premium trips, same hustling and bustling. I could do the exact same month 1 year later. What would I make? Well, with the current Airbus FO pay rate of $230.87, I would have been paid $30,973.36. So I would have made more as a senior first officer hustling than I would as a 777 first officer, very junior, just kind of doing my own job with that Hawaii trip that was a significant pay bump. So that Hawaii trip, the Honolulu trip, of my 28,521.04, if I had not had that trip, I would have made $6,762.89 less. So the Hawaii trip added a lot to the month. I would have made significantly less if I didn't have that Hawaii trip, around $21,000, right? So it added quite a bit of money to the bottom line. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm not just thinking about the money. I'm home a lot as a 777 first officer, and my wife works from home, and she notices I'm home a lot. And don't get me wrong, I love my family. I'm a dad first, right? But I'm also a pilot. And the sitting at home so much is kind of bring a damper on the quality of life, right? I like flying airplanes. I want to fly. And being so junior, I don't fly as much as I want to. So now I have a choice. Do I want to bid Airbus Captain and go slug it out as an airbus captain, flying 3 legs a day, reassignments, multiple legs per day, random cities, mostly the United States, maybe a little Caribbean and Mexico, or hanging out on a 777, and my seniority will increase, but it's going to be a very slow process. Really slow process. Just to show you so logged in? I'm not logged in. I'm not logged in. I want to see the first page. So the most senior first officer on a 777 is number 281. I'm number 9,019. Big difference, right? The top people in 777 aren't going anywhere. They could all easily hold 777 captain. And a few retire in the next year or two, but not that many. So I'll be slowly stepping up in seniority. I should be flying more. I might hold a line by next summer. But until then, I'll be sitting around waiting to fly. I don't know what I want to do. If I were to go to Airbus Captain right now, as an Airbus Captain, a junior Airbus Captain, and getting just my reserve guarantee for 76 hours a month, this is what I would make. $26,384.16. So comparing what I would make as an Airbus Captain on short call versus 777 FO on short call, it's about a $5,000 a month difference. $60,000 a year. But again, I'd probably work a lot more. I'd make more. Again, I do like being home a lot. But I also like flying airplanes. And again, this is a very first world problem. And it's something my wife and I talked about. And she's supportive, right? She says, just do whatever I think would make me happy. And it's a choice. I don't have to. I mean, I can stay as is. I can wait till the next vacancy bid. We have vacancy bids here 3 or 4 times a year. So I know I can hold Airbus Captain. In August of this year, I would have been a line holder, a bottom end line holder in Dallas. In September, I would be reserve because flying goes down in the fall. So just choices to make, things to think about. I don't know which one I'm going to pick yet. I have a couple days to decide for this, at least for this vacancy bid. If I were to go to Airbus Captain, it would be a full training course again. And I'd probably go to training in January, February, right? And I don't know. I should be flying the line, or at least getting paid for it in March. Now, there is a contractual thing there where if the airline says, hey, great, Darren, you're going to be Airbus Captain, you can hold it with your seniority, we have a spot for you waiting, unfortunately, we need you on 777 for a little longer. They can withhold me. They have to pay me my Airbus Captain rate to fly the 777 instead. That's not. I mean, I won't know if it's going to happen until I bid it and get awarded it. But this is just what goes on in my head. And people always ask about, choir life and everything else. Again, I'm home a lot. My kids know who I am. When I was an Airbus first officer and I was very senior, I made every event for my kids and my family because I could bid off the days I wanted. I was very senior. Now it's much harder. I missed Labor Day weekend with my family because I couldn't get the day off. And again, I changed from the Airbus first officer because I'd been on the plane 5 years. I was getting complacent, and I needed a change. So it's either be Airbus Captain or 777 first officer. And I bid the 777 first officer position because I wanted to fly across an ocean to a different continent before I was 64 years old. I fly with a lot of people that are just now able to hold 777 Captain in Dallas, and they're 63 or 64 years old. And it's the first time they've ever done it. I wanted to do it when I was younger so I can have, more alert, and I can experience it now as a first officer before I do it as a captain. That's why I did it. But we'll see. But yeah, I think this is just streaming from the top of my head. I do have these airplane seats. They're pretty neat. I have a set of 2 and 3. I got them from Craigslist like 16 years ago. They came out of a DC-9. That's all I know about them. These have the tray tables in them. A set of 3 just have 3 seats together. But you've never seen it before. But they're pretty neat seats to have. I have them in my media room. But that's my video. If you have questions, drop them in the comments or message me on Instagram, or you can email me, darren@darrenbird.com. I do respond to every message within 7 days for the most part. If you message me on Instagram, don't just say hi. If you just say hi to me, I don't respond to those because you're just wasting my time. Please say hi and ask every question in the first message. If you just say hi, you can't send another message to me, and you kind of wasted your shot, and I'm very sorry. But there's lots of spam on Instagram as well. But didn't have a video for me. I should have a video of a trip like I normally do in the next couple of days. Have a great day. If you don't mind, I would love you to subscribe or like my content. Have a great day, and as always, thank you for stopping by.